The stars shone brightly through the viewport of the Horizon *. Captain Tae-woo Kim stood with his hands behind his back, watching the endless darkness of space. Earth had finally done it. After centuries of dreaming, humanity had reached the stars. Not just reached them. They had settled on 3 planets beyond their home system. "Captain, we're approaching the edge of charted space," said Lieutenant Donghyun at the navigation console. Tae-woo nodded. "Maintain course. This is what we're here for, to push that edge a little further." The Horizon * was Earth's newest exploration vessel. Its mission was simple: go where no human had gone before and see what was out there. The ship carried a crew of 120, the best minds Earth had to offer. "Sir, I'm picking up something strange," said Communications Officer Ji-hae Park. Her fingers moved quickly over her console. "It doesn't match any signals we've seen before." Tae-woo walked over to her station. "Natural phenomenon." Ji shook her head. "No, sir. The pattern is too regular. I think it might be artificial." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. After decades of searching, humanity might finally make first contact with alien life. "Put it on the main screen," ordered Tae-woo. The large screen at the front of the bridge lit up with a complex waveform. It pulsed with a steady rhythm that was clearly not random. "Send the first contact greeting package," said Tae-woo. They had prepared for this moment. The package contained basic mathematical sequences, images of humans, and simple messages of peace in multiple formats. "Message sent, sir," Ji confirmed. "Now we wait." They didn't have to wait long. "Captain." "Multiple objects dropping out of what appears to be faster than light travel," shouted the sensor officer. They're ships, sir. Definitely not human design." The main screen showed a fleet of sleek vessels appearing in the darkness. They were shaped like arrowheads, with smooth hulls that seemed to drink in the light rather than reflect it. "How many?" asked Tae-woo, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. 12, sir, ranging from small to very large." "Any response to our message?" Ji shook her head. "Nothing yet, Captain. Keep broadcasting. Make sure they know we come in peace." The alien ships moved with precision, forming a half circle around the Horizon *. They made no aggressive moves, but their formation was clearly designed to prevent escape. "Sir, I'm detecting energy buildups in the alien vessels," reported the weapons officer. "They might be scanning us, or charging weapons," finished Tae-woo. "Yellow alert. Raise shields, but do not, I repeat, do not arm weapons." The bridge crew moved quickly to their stations. The Horizon * wasn't built for combat, but it had basic defenses. "Sir," said Ji, her voice tight with excitement, "I'm receiving a transmission from the alien ships." "Put it through." The screen flickered, and an image appeared. The creature that stared back at them was unlike anything they had ever seen. It had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on a face covered in iridescent scales. Its mouth was a vertical slit that opened sideways when it spoke. "Unknown vessel," said the alien in perfect, if oddly accented, English. "You have entered territory claimed by the Vosric Confederacy. Identify yourselves immediately." Tae-woo stepped forward. "I am Captain Tae-woo Kim of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon *. We are on a peaceful mission of discovery. We did not know this space was claimed. We offer our apologies and friendship." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Earth. Human. We know of your kind. You have been observed." Tae-woo felt a chill run down his spine. "You've been watching us." "For how long?" "Long enough to know what you are," replied the alien. "The council has deliberated on your case. The decision is made." "Decision? What decision?" The alien didn't answer. Instead, the screen went dark. "They've cut communication," said Ji. "Captain, I don't like this." "Neither do I, Helm. Prepare tow. Energy spike. They're firing weapons. shouted the sensor officer. The Horizon shook as the first blast hit their shields. Alarms blared throughout the ship. Shields down to 60%, reported the engineering officer. One hit. Whatever they're using, it's powerful. Evasive maneuvers, ordered Taewoo. Try to open a channel. Tell them there's been a misunderstanding. The Horizon banked hard to starboard, its engines straining as it tried to escape the alien formation. But the Vossark ships were faster and more agile. They moved like predators, cutting off every possible escape route. Multiple weapons lock. They're all targeting us. Taewoo made a split-second decision. Arm weapons. Return fire on the nearest vessel. The Horizon defense lasers fired, striking one of the smaller Vossark ships. The alien vessel's shields flared but held. No effect, sir. Another blast rocked the Horizon sending crew members flying across the bridge. Consoles exploded in showers of sparks. Shields critical. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. Taewoo stumbled to his command chair and hit the ship-wide comm. All hands, abandon ship. This is not a drill. Get to the escape pods. He turned to Jai. Send a distress call to Earth. Tell them what happened here. Tell them we're under attack by an alien force called the Vossark Confederacy. Jihai nodded, her hands flying over her console despite the blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. Message away, sir. But at this distance, it will take days to reach Earth. Sir, said the sensor officer, his voice grim, the aliens are targeting our engine core. If they hit it, everyone off the bridge, ordered Taewoo. Get to the escape pods now. The bridge crew hesitated. That's an order, shouted Taewoo. I'll be right behind you. As the crew rushed for the exits, Taewoo turned to Jai. Do we have any data on their weapons or defenses? Yes, sir. Our sensors recorded everything. I've included it in the distress call. And she pulled a small data chip from her console and pressed it into his hand. It's all here too. Good. Now go. Jai shook her head. Not without you, Captain. Another blast hit the ship, stronger than before. The lights flickered and died, leaving only the dim emergency lighting. Engine core breach imminent, came a voice over the comm. 2 minutes to detonation. Taewoo grabbed Jihai's arm and pulled her toward the escape pods. They ran through corridors filled with smoke and wounded crew members. Taewoo helped as many as he could, directing them to the nearest pods. When they reached the last pod, Taewoo pushed Jihai inside. Take this, he said, handing her the data chip. Make sure Earth gets it. Where are you going? She asked, grabbing his arm. There are still people trapped on Deck 5. I'm going to get them. There's no time. I won't leave them behind. He pulled free from her grip. That's an order, Officer Park. Earth needs to know what happened here. Before she could protest further, Taewoo sealed the pod door and hit the launch button. The pod ejected from the ship with a violent jerk, sending Jivi tumbling against the wall. Through the small viewport, she watched in horror as the Horizon took another direct hit. This time, the alien weapons pierced straight through the weakened shields and into the engine core. The Horizon didn't simply explode. It disintegrated in a blinding flash of light and energy. One moment it was there, a testament to human ingenuity and exploration, and the next it was gone, along with Captain Taewoo Kim and everyone else who hadn't made it to the escape pods. Ji's pod was thrown by the blast, spinning wildly into the darkness of space. The last thing she saw before losing consciousness was the Vossark ships methodically hunting down and destroying the other escape pods, one by one. When she woke, her pod was drifting. The emergency beacon blinked steadily, sending out its distress call. The Vossark ships were gone. Either they had missed her pod in the confusion of the explosion, or they had simply not bothered with such a small target. Ji checked the pod systems, Life support was functioning. She had food and water for a month. The distress beacon was working, and in her hand she still clutched the data chip Captain Kim had given her, the only record of humanity's first contact with alien life and of the unprovoked attack that followed. As tears streamed down her face, Ji-hai made a vow. She would survive. She would reach Earth, and she would make sure Captain Kim's sacrifice wasn't in vain. What she didn't know was that the Vossric Confederacy had already set course for the human colonies with a single goal in mind: extermination. The war had begun. 3 years had passed since the destruction of the Horizon *. 3 years of constant war. 3 years of watching human colonies burn. Admiral Sun Wuhan stood in the war room of Earth's Central Command, his face lined with exhaustion. Holographic displays showed the current state of human space, a shrinking bubble of blue surrounded by the red of Vossric-controlled territory. "We've lost New Eden," said General Minsu, pointing to a flashing red dot. The colony held out for 2 weeks, but the Vossric brought in their heavy ships. "Casualties?" asked Sunwoo, though he already knew the answer would be bad. "Total: 8 million civilians. They didn't even try to take prisoners." Sunwoo closed his eyes briefly. Another colony gone. Another 8 million dead. In 3 years, humanity had lost 40% of its territory and nearly 3 billion lives. "Did we get everyone out of Proxima Station before they arrived?" he asked. "Yes, sir, and we implemented the Scorched Earth Protocol. They found nothing but empty buildings and disabled equipment." The Scorched Earth Protocol had been Sunwoo's idea. If humanity couldn't hold a position, they would take everything of value before retreating. No resources, no technology, and no people would be left for the Vossric to capture or study. "What's the status of Project Breakthrough?" Sunwoo asked, turning to Dr. Jun Lee, the head of Earth's scientific division. Jun looked up from his tablet. "We're making progress. The Vossric ship we captured last month has given us valuable insights into their communication systems. They use a unified protocol across their entire fleet. If we can crack it, we can listen to their plans," finished Sunwoo. "How long?" "A few more weeks, maybe less. My team is working around the clock." Sunwoo nodded. It wasn't much, but it was something. A small hope in a sea of despair. The door to the war room slid open, and a junior officer entered. "Sir, Officer Park is here to see you." Sunwoo straightened. "Send her in." G. Park was no longer the young communications officer who had escaped the Horizon 3 years ago. Now she was Commander Park, one of Earth's most skilled intelligence officers. The data she had brought back from the Horizon had given humanity its first glimpse of Vossric technology. "Admiral," she said, saluting sharply, "I have news from the front." "Good or bad?" "Both. The Vossric hit Ta City hard. We lost the colony, but—" a small smile touched her lips. "Colonel Minji Kang's Special Forces team managed to capture a Vossric command ship in the process. They're bringing it back to Earth now." A murmur of excitement ran through the war room. A command ship would contain far more valuable data than the scout vessel they had captured earlier. "How did Colonel Kang manage that?" asked General Minsu, clearly impressed. Her team posed as maintenance workers on Ta City's orbital station. When the Vossric commander docked to oversee the colony's destruction, they boarded the ship, killed the crew, and hijacked the vessel. Jiai's voice held a note of fierce pride. They lost half their team doing it, but they got the ship. Sunwoo felt a surge of hope. Maybe this was the break they needed. "When will they arrive?" 3 days, sir." "Good. Dr. Lee, I want you ready to strip that ship down to its atoms. I want to know everything about how it works." Jun nodded eagerly. "My team is already preparing, Admiral." Sunwoo turned back to the holographic display. "In the meantime, we need to slow the Vossric advance. They're pushing toward the Alpha Centauri colony, and we can't lose that one. It's our largest off-Earth settlement." I have a plan for that, said General Minsu. But you're not going to like it. I haven't liked anything about this war, General. Tell me anyway. High Commander Rill stood on the command deck of the Vosrik flagship, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the battle reports. The human vermin were proving more troublesome than expected. Report, he ordered. Commander Vex approached, bowing low. High Commander, we have conquered another human world called New Eden. The cleansing was complete. Casualties minimal, High Commander. The humans fought fiercely, but ineffectively. Raul made a sound of satisfaction. And the resources? The technology. Vex hesitated. That is, less satisfactory, High Commander. The humans destroyed everything of value before we arrived. All we found were empty shells. Raul's outer eyes narrowed in anger. Again, this is the 8th time. How do they know where we will strike next? We don't know, High Commander. It's possible they are guessing based on our previous patterns. Then change the patterns. I want the next strike to catch them by surprise. Rail turned away in disgust. These humans are like insects, yet they continue to resist. It is unnatural. Ambassador Dallin of the Myriac stepped forward from the shadows. Unlike Raul's scaled skin, Dallin's was smooth and pale, almost translucent. The Myriacs were known for their diplomacy and insight, qualities Rail found useful but irritating. Perhaps, High Commander, said Dallin in his soft voice, we have underestimated these humans. Their adaptability is remarkable. In just 3 years, they have learned to use some of our own technology against us. Are you suggesting the Vosrik Confederacy cannot defeat a primitive species that has barely left its home system? Raul's voice was dangerous. Not at all, High Commander. I merely suggest that overwhelming force may not be the most efficient approach with this particular species. History shows that humans often become more determined when faced with extinction. Raul made a dismissive gesture. History is written by survivors, Ambassador. There will be no human survivors to write their history. Dallin bowed his head, but his eyes, large and golden, remained troubled. As you say, High Commander. Return to your quarters, Ambassador. The Council values your insights, but this is a military matter now. After Dallin had left, Rill turned to Commander Vex. Double the size of the fleet heading to Alpha Centauri. I want the colony destroyed completely. No survivors, no intact technology. Nothing. It will be done, High Commander. Colonel Minji Kang stood in the cargo bay of the stolen Vosrik command ship, surrounded by the bodies of her fallen comrades. Only 6 of her original 16-person team had survived the mission. We need to seal these pods, she told the surviving members. The least we can do is bring them home. As her team prepared the cryopods for their fallen friends, Minji walked to the main viewport. The blue-green curve of Earth was visible in the distance. Home. They had made it. The mission had been deemed a suicide run from the start. No one had expected them to succeed in capturing a Vosrik command ship, let alone bringing it back to Earth. But here they were. Her second-in-command, Sergeant Junho, approached. Colonel, we've secured the Vosrik database. Their security systems were more primitive than we expected. Minji raised an eyebrow. Primitive. Their technology is a century ahead of ours. Junho smiled grimly. In weapons and propulsion, yes. But their computer security is basic. They've never needed anything better. No one has challenged them in centuries. Have you looked at what's in the database? Only briefly. It's encrypted, but I found their tactical plans for the next 3 months. They're planning a major assault on Alpha Centauri. Minji felt her heart sink. Alpha Centauri was home to over 20 million humans. If it fell, we need to get this information to Admiral Han immediately, she said. How long until we reach Earth's defensive perimeter? About 6 hours at our current speed. Push the engines harder. We need to make it in 4. Junho hesitated. Colonel, there's something else. Something in the database about the Vosrik Council. They're not united in this war. There's a faction that opposed the attack on humanity, led by someone called Ambassador Dallin. Minji filed that information away. It might be useful later. Interesting. But right now our priority is warning Earth about Alpha Centauri. As Chunho left to check on the engines, Minji looked again at the approaching Earth. For the first time, in 3 long years of war, she felt something other than despair. She felt hope. In his lab deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Junbli had just made a breakthrough. After months of studying Vosric technology, he had finally understood how their communication systems worked. "It's so simple," he told his assistant. "They've been using the same encryption protocol for centuries because no one has ever challenged them." They'd grown complacent. He looked at the lines of code on his screen, a fierce smile lighting his face. If he was right, humanity was about to gain its first real advantage in this war. The Vosric would never know what hit them. The massive shipyard orbiting Mars hummed with activity. 5 years into the war, humanity had transformed its peaceful space industry into a war machine unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Captain Haiyan stood on the observation deck, watching as workers swarmed over the hull of the newly commissioned Vengeance class warship. It was beautiful in a terrible way, sleek and deadly, built with a combination of human ingenuity and stolen Vosric technology. "She'll be ready to launch tomorrow," said the chief engineer beside him. "The first of her class. What will you name her?" Haiyan didn't hesitate. Horizon's Revenge *. The engineer nodded in approval. Everyone knew the story of the Horizon *, the first human ship destroyed by the Vosric. Its legacy lived on in humanity's fierce determination to survive. "Admiral Han wants to see you," said a voice behind them. Haiyan turned to see a young officer standing at attention. "Thank you. I'll go right away." Haiyan made his way through the bustling corridors of the Mars Command Center. Workers and soldiers moved with purpose. There was no wasted motion, no wasted time. Earth couldn't afford it. He found Admiral Sun Wuhan in his office, studying a holographic display of the galaxy. Blue dots represented human-controlled systems. Red dots were Vosric territory. Yellow dots showed their allies, the Myriacs and 2 other species that had broken away from the Vosric Confederacy. "Captain Yu, thank you for coming," said Sunwoo without looking up. "How is your ship?" "Ready for launch, Admiral. We've installed Dr. Lee's Phantom Protocol. The Vosric won't see us coming." Sunwoo nodded, finally turning to face Haiyan. The Admiral looked older than his 50 years. The war had taken its toll on everyone, but especially on those in command. "Good, because I have your first mission." Sunwoo touched the hologram, and one of the red dots began to flash. "This is Vega Prime, the main supply hub for the Vosric forces in Sector 7. I want you to take it out." Haiyan studied the hologram. "Their defenses. Heavy, but with the Phantom Protocol, you should be able to get close enough for a surprise attack. Dr. Lee has also provided something new for you to test." Sunwoo handed Haiyan a datapad. He calls it the Mirror Shield. It can absorb and redirect Vosric energy weapons. Haiyan looked down at the pad, scanning the technical details. "This is incredible. Has it been tested?" "In simulations only. Your mission will be the field test." Sunwoo's face was grim. "I don't need to tell you how important this is, Captain. If the Mirror Shield works, it could change the course of the war." "I understand, sir. When do we leave?" "As soon as your ship is ready." "Oh, and one more thing." Sunwoo pressed a button on his desk, and the door to his office slid open. A woman in a commander's uniform entered. "You'll be working with Commander Park." Haiyan recognized her immediately. Jai Park, the sole survivor of the Horizon *. Her story was legendary among the fleet. "Commander Park will be coordinating a fleet-wide attack that will begin the moment your mission succeeds," explained Sunwoo. "If we can take out their supply hub, we can hit multiple Vosric battle groups while they're vulnerable." Jihi stepped forward, her eyes meeting Haiyan's. "Captain Yu, I've heard good things about you." Likewise, Commander. It will be an honor to serve with you. Sun Wu looked at them both, a spark of hope in his tired eyes. Operation Thunderstrike begins tomorrow. May luck be with you both. High Commander Roll was in a rage. The war that should have been a simple cleansing operation had become a costly quagmire. Worse, 3 of the 7 Confederacy species had broken away, forming their own alliance with the humans. Traitors, he snarled, smashing his fist against the conference table. The other Vossra commanders flinched. How dare they side with these vermin? Ambassador Dallin, who had somehow survived years of Rawl's growing paranoia, spoke calmly. High Commander, perhaps it is time to reconsider our approach. The humans have proven more resourceful than anyone expected. They've adapted our technology, formed alliances with our former members, and now they're beginning to push back. They have been lucky, nothing more, said Raoul dismissively. A few small victories do not change the outcome. We still outnumber them. Our technology is still superior. Is it? Asked Dallin, his voice soft but challenging. Their new ships can somehow evade our sensors. They appear from nowhere, strike, and vanish again. And reports say they have found a way to redirect our energy weapons. Rumors and exaggerations. Raoul's eyes blinked rapidly in agitation. The humans are primitive creatures. They cannot possibly understand our technology, let alone improve upon it. Commander Vex cleared his throat nervously. High Commander, with respect, our casualties have increased by 200% in the last 6 months. We've lost 12 battle cruisers to these primitive creatures. Perhaps Ambassador Dallin is right. Perhaps we should open negotiations. Relv stood slowly, his scaled skin darkening with rage. You suggest we negotiate with animals, with an infestation. Would you negotiate with a disease, Commander Vex? No, High Commander, but there will be no negotiations. There will be no peace until every human is dead and their worlds are cleansed. Rael turned his fury on Dallin. And you, Ambassador. I have tolerated your dissent for too long. Your species, the Myriacs, have shown sympathy for the humans from the beginning. Now I wonder if you have been helping them. Dallin's face remained calm, but his large eyes showed concern. My loyalty is to the Confederacy, High Commander. I merely advise caution. Your advice is no longer welcome. Roll pressed a button on his wrist device. Guards, take Ambassador Dallin to detention. His species' loyalty must be reevaluated. As guards entered and surrounded Dallin, Rael faced the other commanders. The Myriac's homeworld has harbored sympathizers for too long. Make an example of them. I want their planet reduced to ash within the day. The commanders exchanged uneasy glances but nodded. No one dared to challenge Raoul directly. As Dallin was led away, he locked eyes with Raoul one last time. This decision will be remembered as the beginning of the end, High Commander. Not for humanity, but for the Vossra Confederacy. The Asterisk Horizon's Revenge Asterisk glided silently through space, completely invisible to Vossric sensors. The Phantom Protocol worked perfectly, bending light and energy around the ship's hull like a cloak. On the bridge, Captain Hyen-Yu watched the massive Vossric supply station grow larger on the main screen. It was an impressive structure, a central hub with 8 extending arms, each one a docking port for supply ships. Status, he asked quietly, though there was no need for silence in space. All systems nominal, Captain, reported his first officer. Weapons are hot. Mirror shield is online but untested. And the Vossric? No sign that they've detected us. Their defense grid is active but not on high alert. Hyen nodded. Take us in closer. I want to be right on top of them when we decloak. The ship moved slowly toward the station, passing by Vossric patrol vessels that were blind to its presence. This close, they could see the details of the alien ships, the strange, organic curves of their hulls, the pulsing lights of their engines. 500 meters from optimal firing position, reported the navigator. Arm all weapons. Prepare to decloak on my mark. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained for months for this mission. Every person knew exactly what to do. In position, sir. Hyen took a deep breath. This was the moment that would prove whether humanity's new technologies could truly challenge the Vosric. Drop the cloak. Fire all weapons. The Asterisk Horizon's Revenge Asterisk appeared seemingly from nowhere, its weapons blazing. Beams of concentrated energy struck the Vosric station at its most vulnerable points. Explosions bloomed in the silence of space. The station's defenses responded almost immediately, but too late. Their energy weapons lashed out at the human ship, only to be caught by the mirror shield and reflected back at them. Mirror shield functioning at 93%. Called out the engineering officer. It's working, Captain. Continue the attack. Target their main reactor. The Asterisk Horizon's Revenge Asterisk moved with surprising agility for its size, dodging some attacks while reflecting others. The Vosric patrol ships scrambled to respond, but they were confused and disorganized. Main reactor targeted. Firing main cannon. The ship's primary weapon, built with reverse-engineered Vosric technology, fired a concentrated beam of energy directly at the station's core. The beam punched through the station's shields and hull like they were paper. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the station's core began to glow, brighter and brighter until it was painful to look at. Get us out of here. Maximum speed, ordered Hyen. The Asterisk Horizon's Revenge Asterisk turned and accelerated away from the station, just as the reactor went critical. The explosion was blinding, a miniature sun that engulfed the station and every Vosric ship nearby. When the light faded, nothing remained but debris. Hyen allowed himself a small smile. Send the signal to Commander Park. Tell her Operation Thunderstrike is a go. Across human space, hidden fleets of ships equipped with the Phantom Protocol and mirror shields emerged from hiding, striking at Vosric targets simultaneously. It was a coordinated attack unlike anything the Confederacy had ever faced. And leading the largest fleet was Commander G.A. Park, her face set with grim determination as she gave the order to attack. For the Asterisk Horizon Asterisk, she whispered. For Earth. The tide of war had finally begun to turn. 8 years had passed since the Vosric Confederacy had attacked the exploration vessel Asterisk Horizon Asterisk. 8 years of death, destruction, and endless war. But now, humanity stood at the threshold of victory. Admiral Jai Park stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Asterisk Earth's Vengeance Asterisk. Once she had been a simple communications officer. Now she commanded the most feared fleet in the galaxy, the Ghost Fleet. Not a single ship in her command had ever been detected by Vosric sensors before it was too late. Status report, she said, her voice calm but firm. All ships in position, Admiral, replied her first officer. The Vosric have no idea we're here. Jihai nodded, studying the tactical display. Before them lay Vosric Prime, the homeworld of the species that had started this war. After years of fighting, after pushing the enemy back system by system, they had finally reached the heart of the Confederacy. Any word from Admiral Han? She asked. Yes, Mom. His fleet is in position on the far side of the system. General Kang's ground forces are ready for deployment. And Dr. Lee reports that the Sunburst weapon is fully charged. Jihai took a deep breath. The Sunburst was humanity's newest weapon, a device capable of disabling an entire planetary defense system without harming civilians. It was a testament to how far humanity had come that they could now choose to be merciful, even to their worst enemies. Send the message to High Commander Rawl, she ordered. One last chance to surrender. In his fortress on Vosric Prime, High Commander Rawl received the human transmission with rage and disbelief. They dare to demand our surrender. He snarled, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in anger. They are insects beneath our feet. Commander Vex, now older and much more cautious, spoke carefully. High Commander, our situation is difficult. The humans and their allies have destroyed or captured most of our fleet. 3 of our colony worlds have already fallen, and our remaining allies are wavering. Cowards. All of them. Rael slammed his fist on his throne. The Vosric do not surrender. We have ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. We will not bow to primitive mammals. Then we will die, High Commander, said Vex simply. The humans have us surrounded. Their technology now matches or exceeds our own. And their allies include our former Confederacy members who know all our weaknesses. We still have the planetary defense grid, insisted Raul. The largest in the galaxy. No fleet can penetrate it. Vex hesitated. There are rumors, High Commander. The humans have developed a new weapon, something called the Sunburst. It is said to disable defense systems without causing other damage. Rumors. Propaganda. Rael stood, drawing himself up to his full height. Send this message to the human admiral. The Vosric Confederacy will never surrender. Come and face your death, mammals. As Vex left to send the message, Rael turned to look out the window at his beautiful homeworld. Deep inside, in a place he would never admit existed, he felt something new. Fear. Admiral Sun Wuhan received Raul's response with a tired sigh. So be it, he said to his officers. Signal Admiral Park and General Kang. Operation Final Dawn begins now. Across the Vosric system, human ships decloaked simultaneously. The Ghost Fleet under Admiral Park's command appeared directly above Vosric Prime. Admiral Han's forces emerged on the far side of the system, cutting off any escape routes. And in low orbit, transport ships carrying General Kang's ground forces prepared for landing. Fire the Sunburst, ordered Jai. From the Asterisk Earth's Vengeance Asterisk, a single missile launched toward the planet. The Vosric defense grid targeted it immediately, firing hundreds of energy beams. But the missile was protected by the most powerful mirror shield ever built. It absorbed the attacks and continued its descent. When it reached the atmosphere, the Sunburst detonated. There was no explosion, no fire, no destruction. Instead, a wave of energy spread across the planet, invisible but unstoppable. Everywhere it passed, Vosric technology simply stopped working. On the planet's surface, lights went out. Defense systems shut down. Weapons became useless pieces of metal. The entire technological infrastructure of the most advanced species in the galaxy had been neutralized in seconds. Sunburst successful, reported the tactical officer. Planetary defenses neutralize. All Vosric ships in orbit are disabled. Jihai nodded. Signal General Kang. She may begin her landing. General Minji Kang led her forces with precision and discipline. The landing was unopposed. The Vosric ground forces were in chaos without their advanced weapons and communication systems. Her target was clear, the Confederacy Council Chamber, where High Commander Raul and the remaining council members were holed up. The massive building, once a symbol of Vosric power and authority, was now just a structure like any other. Move forward, she ordered her troops. Remember your training. No unnecessary casualties. The human soldiers advanced through the streets of the Vosric capital. Many expected fierce resistance, but instead they found confusion and surrender. Vosric civilians and even soldiers simply stood aside, watching in shocked silence as the human forces passed by. After years of being told that humans were primitive animals, they were now seeing disciplined, organized troops with technology beyond their own. When they reached the council chamber, Minji stepped forward. High Commander Raul. She called out, her voice amplified by her suit's speakers. Your defenses are down. Your forces have surrendered. Come out now, and you will be treated according to galactic law. For a long moment, there was silence. Then the massive doors slowly opened. Commander Vex emerged, his hands raised in surrender. The High Commander refuses to surrender, he said. But I speak for what remains of the Confederacy military. We are done fighting. Minji nodded, and the other council members. Inside. They await your justice. Vex looked at the human soldiers with a mixture of fear and grudging respect. You are not what we expected, humans. We rarely are, replied Minji. She signaled her troops. Secure the building. Find Raul. They found the High Commander in the central chamber, sitting alone on his throne. He did not resist as they placed restraints on him. You think you've won, he hissed at Minji. But you've only proven what we always knew. You humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy. You've become the very monsters you accused us of being. Minji looked at him for a long moment. No, High Commander. We've become something you never understood. Survivors. 1 month later, Admiral Sun Wuhan stood before the newly formed Galactic Assembly. Representatives from all species of the former Confederacy, plus humanity and other independent worlds, had gathered to forge a new future. The war is over, he announced formally. The Vossric Confederacy has surrendered unconditionally. High Commander Raul and the War Council have been tried for crimes against sentient beings and sentenced to life imprisonment. Ambassador Dallin, who had survived Raul's purge and now led the Mariax delegation, stepped forward. And what of reparations? The Vossric destroyed human worlds, killed billions. By ancient law, their worlds are forfeit to the victors. Sun Wu shook his head. Humanity does not seek to replace one tyrant with another. We do not want Vossric worlds or wealth. We want only 3 things: justice for war crimes, technology sharing across all species, and a binding defense pact. A murmur ran through the assembly. No conquering power in galactic history had ever shown such restraint. And what guarantees do we have that humanity will not use its military might to dominate us in the future? Asked a representative of the Vossric people, now freed from Raul's leadership. Dr. Jun Li stepped forward to answer. None, he said simply. Except this. We know the cost of war better than anyone. We have no desire to start another. But you will maintain your fleets. Your weapons, pressed the representative. Admiral Jai Park spoke next. Yes, we call it the Never Again Protocol. We will maintain the ability to defend ourselves and our allies, but we will never again be the ones who fire first. The assembly fell silent, considering this. Finally, Ambassador Dallin spoke. I have observed humans since this war began. I have seen their ferocity in battle and their mercy in victory. I believe them when they say they want peace. He looked around the chamber. But I also believe them when they say never again. I suggest we all remember the lesson of this war. Do not mistake patience for weakness or restraint for inability. 10 years after the destruction of the Horizon Asterisk, a memorial station orbited the spot where the ship had been destroyed. It had become a place of pilgrimage for beings from across the galaxy, a reminder of how a small act of aggression had led to a war that transformed the galactic order. On a viewing deck, a young Vossric child stood with their parent, looking out at the stars. Is it true? Asked the child. The stories about humans. The parent looked uncomfortable. Which stories? That they fought the entire Confederacy and won. That their ships can appear from nowhere. That a single human soldier can defeat 10 Vossric warriors. Some of those are exaggerations, said the parent carefully. But yes, they defeated us when we were at our strongest. But they didn't take our worlds when they won. Why? The parent was silent for a moment. Because humans are different. They can be the most terrible enemies or the most loyal friends. It depends on how you treat them. The child looked thoughtful. I'd like to meet a human someday. Just then, a human ship passed by the window. One of the patrols that still guarded the memorial. It was massive and sleek, a reminder of the power humanity still held. The parent watched it pass, a shiver running down their spine, despite the years of peace. Yes, they said quietly, but remember what the old saying teaches. Treat humans with respect, for the galaxy still bears the scars of those who did not. The ship disappeared into the darkness of space, its mission continuing. The war was over, but its lesson remained. In a galaxy full of ancient and powerful species, it was the newcomers, the adaptable, determined, ruthless when necessary humans, that were now the name that made others tremble. Not out of hatred, out of respect and just a little bit of fear.